Hey, I'm Gareth from Pod Cameras, and today we've got something really exciting to look at. We've teamed up with Rotolight to bring you the exclusive launch of the Rotolight 3-Light Location Kit. Now, this is essentially a portable photography studio lighting kit, which allows you to get great light anywhere you go on location, so you can take it anywhere you want to shoot. Now, we've tested it out in a few different locations with different lighting, and we've been really impressed with the results we've been able to get. The kit itself comprises of a Rotolight AEOS, which acts as the key light, two Neo 2s, which can act as a fill light and a backlight, two stands, a Rotopod, a ball head adapter, and it all fits very nicely into the carry case as well. So like I said before, we tested it out in a few different locations to really be able to put them through their paces and find out how they could deal with different situations. So the very first location we went to was kind of a later evening shoot, so we still had some of that golden hour light, and we managed to isolate our subjects from the background using the high-speed sync. Now, as the light started to fade, we could switch over to continuous lighting, and we're still able to get that same effect and get some really nice pictures. Now, the advantage of continuous lighting is obviously that you can actually see what you're shooting, you can compose the shot, you can set your settings all in camera without the sort of trial and error that can come from flash. You're actually able to set everything as you go. Now, as the light dipped later on, moved on to a new location, and actually it was pretty dark by that point, but we managed to get some really interesting shots here. So just using continuous lighting, we were then able to just remove the background completely and just isolate our subjects in the picture. And that's on a really low power setting as well. That was on about 5%. We were able to get these results, and we were really impressed with how these lights were able to fare. On the next day, we moved on to a new location, and we had an earlier evening shoot because we wanted to see how the Rotolights would deal with more ambient light around to contend with. So here was an earlier evening shoot, there's quite a lot of ambient light around, and we were using the AEOS and the Neos to highlight the subject's faces, and they were more than able to do that either on high-speed sync or just continuous light. They were able to just pull out the faces a little bit, just highlight them against the ambient lighting, and just bring that out a little bit, which we were really impressed with. Now, one of the massive advantages of the Rotolight lights, like the AEOS and the Neos, is that they're very portable. They're able to be handheld, which means you can stick them on the light stands, you can stick them on a tripod, things like that, but you can, if you've got someone there with you, hold them, which means you can get them into positions that you can't get traditional lighting into so easily. So that means that you can bring them right up to a subject's face, you can get them leaning over stairs, you can all kinds of things like that, and that's really handy and a very versatile way to be able to use lighting. And it enabled us to get these shots, which I don't know if we'd be able to get, certainly not as easily with traditional lighting. So shooting indoors gave us new ways to get creative. We were able to change the color temperature of the lights to get the exact look that we wanted to use. Now we're using the AEOS as a key light, and then one of the Neos as a fill light, and a Rotopod as a backlight, which is really handy. It's one of the great things about the Rotopod actually is it's so small, it can kind of fit into little spaces, or you can hang it on trees or things like that, just to get a bit of a fill or a backlight in there that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get with bigger lights or more traditional lighting. It's a really useful thing to have in the kit. Now these were shot with, like I say, the AEOS as the key light, and then the Rotopod behind, and a Neo as the fill light, and we were able to get some really nice results. We were able to shape the light as we wanted to, get the color temperature we wanted to, and we were really happy with the results. So the thing that sets this kit apart is the versatility. So you've got things like the portability, it's able to be handheld and moved around like that, the usability in terms of setting the color temperature, it's got things like the high-speed sync, continuous lighting. There's lots of different ways to use the lights, and they enable you to get creative and get shots that you wouldn't necessarily be able to get. One other massive advantage of using the Rotolights is they don't have a recycle time. So let's say you're shooting on the Sony a7R III. You're going to be able to just snap away at the high-speed continuous rate, 10 frames a second, and the flash is going to be able to keep up with you. The Rotolights are just going to keep up and flash as you go, as opposed to other lights which need that recycle time. So you get one flash and then it'll wait a couple of seconds and then another flash. These ones will just be able to flash and just go with the camera, which means you get more shots, you get better shots, and you get less downtime. And that's a really big plus, because if you're trying to capture movement like that with the continuous shooting, That is a huge bonus for these lights. Now, we haven't even really touched on any of the features that these lights offer for video. Obviously, the continuous lighting is great, and this is a particularly great kit actually for lighting a scene, lighting an interview, anything like that. Obviously, you've got the AEOS as the key light, Neos as back or fill lights. You've got the Rotopod to add a little bit in there as well. That's a really great kit for setting up an interview wherever you go, which is always really handy because power isn't always readily available for lighting like that. So that's a great thing to have. But they've also got loads of built-in effects, things like fire, flickering, lightning, things like that. And actually, they are really, really useful and really great. And if you light a scene using the fire effect, that looks so good. It looks so realistic, the light kind of bouncing off people's faces and flickering. It looks really, really natural and really good. And once you've used it, you start getting obsessed with wanting to use things like that a bit more, and it's very easy to get carried away, but it's a really, really great thing to have in the light as opposed to having to buy something else to create that effect. These lights make it really easy to shoot anywhere you go on location. So you can shoot a portrait against the sunset, so have the sunset in the back, but still have your subject nicely exposed and nicely lit up and have a nice overall exposure to the picture. You can shoot when the sun's gone down, you can still get light into those places you need to get it. You've got a really versatile kit for photography and for video wherever you want to go on location. Now, I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions at all, pop them down in the comments below. Hit the like button if you liked the video. Make sure to subscribe for more content. I'll see you in the next video. And as always, thanks for watching.